Welcome, everyone. Today we are going to understand Pseudomonas aeruginosa, a very important opportunistic gram-negative bacterium using this powerful visual mnemonic. Instead of memorizing scattered microbiology facts, we will decode this image like a story. Every element you see represents a high-yield exam point. Let's begin. Imagine standing near a dark coastal cave. From the sea emerges a terrifying figure known as the pseudo-green sea giant. This giant represents Pseudomonas aeruginosa. The name itself is a phonetic clue, pseudo to Pseudomonas, green sea to green pigment production. So immediately, this character tells us the organism we are dealing with. Now look at the color of the giant. His entire body has a blue-green appearance. This is a very important clue. Pseudomonas produces pigments called Pyocyanin or pyoverdine. These pigments give colonies a characteristic blue-green color. So whenever you see this greenish organism, think Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Now look at the giant's helmet. It is labeled ox skull helmet. This represents an important laboratory characteristic. Pseudomonas is oxidase positive. This helps differentiate it from many other gram-negative bacteria, especially Enterobacteriaceae, which are oxidase negative. So remember, oxidase positive implies think Pseudomonas. Now look at the weapon in the giant's hand. He is holding a sword labeled ADP ribosylation sword. This is one of the most important mechanisms of this organism. Pseudomonas produces exotoxin A, which works by ADP ribosylating EF2, a key factor in protein synthesis. This action inhibits protein synthesis, leading to cell death. This mechanism is very similar to diphtheria toxin. So the sword represents exotoxin A leads to ADP ribosylation of EF2, leads to inhibition of protein synthesis. Now look at the giant's cloak. It appears thick, slimy, and sticky, labeled as a biofilm slime cape. This represents another major virulence factor. Pseudomonas produces alginate, which helps form biofilms. These biofilms are especially important in patients with cystic fibrosis, where they allow the bacteria to persist in the lungs. So remember, alginate leads to biofilm formation, leads to chronic infection, especially in CF patients. Now look at the giant's shield. It shows a black necrotic lesion in the center. This represents a classic clinical manifestation, Ecthyma gangrenosum. This is a rapidly progressive necrotic skin lesion, often seen in immunocompromised patients. So the shield reminds us, Pseudomonas to Ecthyma gangrenosum to black necrotic lesion. Now look at the water pool behind the giant. It is labeled hot tub/swimmer's ear pool. This represents another important clinical association. Pseudomonas thrives in moist environments, especially hot tubs and swimming pools. It is a common cause of otitis externa, also known as swimmer's ear. So whenever you see water exposure, think Pseudomonas infection. Now look near the bottom of the image. You can see the label non-fermenter icon, McConkey. This represents an important lab characteristic. Pseudomonas is a non-lactose fermenter. On McConkey agar, it does not produce pink colonies. So remember, non-lactose fermenter leads to Pseudomonas. Now let's summarize the entire mnemonic scene. The pseudo-green sea giant represents Pseudomonas aeruginosa. The blue-green color represents Pyocyanin and pyoverdine pigments. The ox skull helmet reminds us that it is oxidase positive. The ADP ribosylation sword represents exotoxin A, inhibiting protein synthesis via EF2. The slimy biofilm cape represents alginate production and biofilm formation. The necrotic shield represents Ecthyma gangrenosum. The hot tub pool reminds us of swimmer's ear and moist environment infections. And the non-fermenter label reminds us that it is a non-lactose fermenting organism. So the next time you hear Pseudomonas aeruginosa, imagine this entire scene. The green sea giant, the oxidase helmet, the toxic sword, the slimy biofilm cloak, and the necrotic skin lesion. With this one visual story, you can recall all the high-yield exam points in seconds.